A great afternoon to one and all. I'm Kiran Shinde, Assistant Professor MCA, Institute of Industrial and Computer Management Research, IICMR MCA. Welcome you all once again to WEBETHON 2020, a webinar series hosted by IICMR with the theme Engage, Explore and Empower. We have been delivering various webinars from 20th June 2020 on latest trends in information technology. And we are really feeling happy because there are many participants who are continuously joining our webinar. Today, we have planned our webinar on Unleash Your Creativity Through Mobile Apps by Mr. Sumit Morey, Senior Software Development Engineer, Nuance India Private Limited. Now, I would like to introduce to you the convener of today's webinar, Mrs. Rupali Bhangale. She has done BSc in Computer Science and MCA. She is certified with Oracle Certified Java Professional, OCJP, Microsoft Technology Associate MTA HTML5 and CSS, Microsoft Technology Associate Software Fundamentals, and Introduction to Programming using Java. She has also done NPTEL certification in machine learning. She has got 10 plus years of academic experience. Now I will request Mrs. Rupali Bhangale to please introduce today's speaker, Mr. Sumit Morey. Over to Rupali Bhangale, madam.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Kiran ma'am, for the warm introduction. Again, I welcome you all for fifth talk in WEBETHON 2020, a webinar series of ICMR on topic Unleash Your Creativity Through Mobile App Development. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, we all are facing various challenges, right from arranging daily needs to medical help for the needy people. But in one key area, we can make more direct contribution, that is your learning, media and technology, by switching to online and digital education platforms. When it comes to the IT industry, there are plenty of career paths available to take out, but one field that has a tremendous rising popularity, and that is mobile app development. Mobile devices have become global these days. Almost 2/3 of population is connected with mobile devices. We are using mobile apps for everything from shopping to getting a ride, scheduling appointments, playing video games, and many more. As a result, mobile app developers are in demand. We are having an eminent speaker, Mr. Sumit Morey. He will give you the glimpses of mobile app development. So meet our today's speaker, Mr. Sumit Morey, Senior Software Development Engineer, Nuance India Private Limited. Mr. Sumit is having 11 plus years of experience in both development and research. He started his career with Sofomo Embedded Solution Private Limited as software developer. After that, he worked with Nihilan Technologies Private Limited as a system analyst for 4 plus years, and now he is with Nuance India Private Limited. He worked on many live mobile apps. I request Sumit to share his experience with our audience. Over to Sumit.
Thank you, Rupali ma'am. It was really a very nice introduction and a very warm good afternoon to all of you. So as Rupali ma'am said, I have got a pretty decent experience in mobile apps development. It's been like more than like 11 years or 11 plus years I'm into this particular field. Okay. So let me take you through our today's topic, which is Unleash Your Creativity Through Mobile Apps. So let's take a bit of glimpse of what actually unleash means. So when it is more of like there is something in mobile apps that is not yet been unleashed or evolved or that is not yet been developed. So we have to use our creativity to unleash that particular mobile app and put it out in the market so that we will be on the more brighter side and we might gain a revenue as well. So just let me know if you are able to see my screen properly. I will just reshare it. Are people able to see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So let us begin our journey. Even though the Rupali ma'am has introduced me, there is a bit about myself. I'm a prestigious alumni of IICMR College, the renowned one. I've worked with three companies till now, as ma'am has mentioned. And what I like to do is basically I like to learn new things. I like to learn new techs and train. So whatever knowledge I gain, I like to pass it out. I like to mentor. So if you have got any projects to do, if you have got any ideas or concepts, we can come together and I can guide you properly. I like to motivate to give to make and unleash your creativity to make the new mobile apps. So and the basic thing is travel. So even though we face COVID-19 situation and there are unlocks going on, I like to keep on exploring more things, and as soon as I possible, I keep on traveling as well. So about once we learn about myself, let's move on to our next slide, which is like the biggest question of this whole presentation. Like, what is an app? What is an app for you? What is an app for a teenager? What is an app for a youngster? What is an app for a senior citizen? And all the stratas and different age groups, all different kind of people, personalities, and its usage. So an app is something that will help you find the pain area of a particular thing and give you a proper solution to it, or come up with a proper idea saying that, hey, if I have got a problem that I cannot go out and buy the groceries, here is my app. Place an order and I will deliver it to you. You come up with Swiggy, you come up with Dunzo. There are plenty of other apps that can do that. So that one small point has given a rise to an app, right? So that is how an app evolves, and that is what an app is. You find out that pain area, you come up with an app. You don't know where to go and you don't know the roads of the new city, you have Google Maps. You enter your idea, you enter your destination there, and it will drive you through very easily with all the possible ideas to it, and it will learn itself as well. So just delivering it out and keeping it number over there doesn't make sense. So the app also needs to keep on updating, right? So that is what an app is all about. Saying that, as we explore more, you will get more glimpses of how to develop an app, what ideas to think about, how to develop an app, right? The first question comes to our mind is, what are different types of mobile apps? Which mobile devices I can target? And what kind of technologies can be used, right? So the first thing is there are different types of mobile apps or for different types of devices. So first thing is a native type of app. Okay, so before proceeding to this, let's know the OSs that we have. We have got an Android OS, we have got Apple, that is iOS. So these are the two only OSs in the market. Then no, we have got Windows as well, we have got BlackBerry as well. So BlackBerry has got its own development language. So if you want to develop an app for all these variety of devices, then we should need to know what types of mobile apps can we develop. One would be a native type of app. Second is a hybrid. And third is web app. So when we say native app, what actually strikes to your mind? Like all these three words are something like they have got their own definition. So the native app is basically an app, let's say, for example, for developed for an iPhone. So when you say it is an app is developed for iPhone, then there are certain libraries, certain SDKs that are being provided by Apple to do the development of that particular device for that particular device, right? So native app is for that one. So what are the benefits of native app? It is kind of like pretty fast. You get access to most of the features of the, excuse me, most of the features of OS, and along you progress. And you can develop a seamless app with a better functionality, with features, and with better UX, that is a user experience. Next comes the hybrid app. So there are plenty of apps that come with a mix and match of technology. So sometimes people come up or the client comes up and says like, hey, I don't want to invest much and I don't want to spend much time as well. So what to do? If you go for the native app, you will have to develop it separately for Android and separately for iOS. So instead, let's come together and work on to a something called as cross-platform or a hybrid thing. So we target iOS, we target Android, we target Windows, and we target the web browser as well. So that's how the hybrid app comes into picture, right? We have, for example, we have got Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Uber, and Amazon. All these are kind of like hybrid apps where a kind of website kind of feeling is there. So even if you launch Amazon and sometimes if the network is down, you might see an error saying that 404 not found or internet not available or something went wrong, right? And it is an exact display of what we see in a web page. So you can make out that yes, this particular app is an hybrid app. Okay. Then comes the web app. Web apps are something where they are actually a website basically, but they support mobile. So when you open a browser and you type in, let's say like yahoo.com or some website that fits perfectly into that particular mobile browser, that is something called as a web app. It is simply launch a open a browser, enter the URL, and that's it. You are done. It doesn't require it requires a website which is hosted somewhere, and from there everything is worked upon. So these are the basic three types of mobile apps that can be developed and that can be uh, created. Okay, so going further, we have got different app categories. So when you say app categories or when you think of designing a particular application, the first thought the we have to do a lot of brainstorming to it, right? So when you say that, hey, I want to develop an app, something that will give boost to the like Byju's. So Byju's is an educational app. So it comes under educational category. Each and every app store, there are two, Google Play and Apple App Store. They have got their individual categories, and while uploading an app to these two stores, you need to know those categories where to upload it. If you look at the chart given below, there are 22% of apps which are belong to games, only games. So we know that gaming is the niche and the top gaming is the topmost app seller in this particular stores. Then comes the business, education, lifestyle, utilities, and so on and so forth. Even if we look at the news app, there are only 1.84% of share of the news app. So which kind of app I want to develop? Looking at the COVID-19 situation and the future era, we have to think it accordingly because people would be mostly at home. They want to spend some good quality time and they want to also do not get depressed and all. So as we proceed with this particular presentation, and if you have got any thoughts and ideas back in your mind that, hey, this is something kind of I'm thinking as an app, then you should also focus on the app category that your app fits into so that we can make a good point or a good selling market to it on the stores, right? And any app that you develop is not for free, right? You have a cost involved in it. You feel like I should get back the cost or I should get back the return of investment to it. And accordingly, we have to plan the category, and that's why where it makes the most difference to it. You make an app, invest, and you get return on investments, right? So that is how it is. So these are the different app categories. Just to give a glimpse, Google Play Store has got 33 apps, the 33 different categories, whereas Apple App Store has got 24. And what we are seeing belongs to the App Store, Apple App Store. Just a bit of it There are more which go below 1.84. So moving on to our next slide. Okay, so the most major part, like we understood what apps are, we understood what categories our app could fit in, and how what kind of development we can do, or what kind of apps are native, hybrid, and web app. With this particular understanding and the idea that you have got, you want to know what technologies are being used for an app development. So let's proceed. If we talk about the native app development, then we have got Android, we have got iOS, we have got Windows, we have got BlackBerry. So these are the four major or mostly been widely being used native app development things. So why we should go for native app development? Because it is the best choice. It gives the best user experience. The speed and performance of the app also is enhanced when we go with the native part. So when I say enhanced, or it is very better or best, then let's take a glimpse of Facebook, right? Or let's take a glimpse of WhatsApp as a native app. It works very fast. And the same app, when we go with a browser onto the Windows platform, or when we go with a web app, it goes very slow, right? Similarly, we have got Facebook. If we open a Facebook app, it is very slow. They are updating with the UI's part with lot of cross technologies and enhancements, but still it does not make it up to the performance, right? And that's why we will have to, when we come to the native app development, we have to focus on all these four technologies, or these four OSs. The other part of native app development, or the disadvantages, is like it is time consuming, it is costly, and we have to buy individual licenses for it. So when I say individual licenses to the release, meaning like an app developed for iOS and Android, we have to purchase the membership of iOS, we have to purchase membership from Android, we have to buy we have to deploy two separate developers, we have to go with two separate use cases, we have to go, all the efforts are multiplied as per the number of OSs that we target while doing the native app development. So and that's the major disadvantage of native app development. So most of the clients come back saying that, hey, I don't have time and I don't want to invest so much. Give me a better solution to it and fix it ASAP. Then the company comes back and says that, okay, we will go for the hybrid app. So what kind of development can be done? iOS, Android, and BlackBerry. For iOS, we can use Objective-C, Swift, and SDK required is Xcode. The major part for iOS development is we will require a Mac OS X. If we don't have a Mac OS X, then we have to go for another option called as Hackintosh, and we can proceed with the development just for the better and clear, a simpler way of doing it. Then Android, as we all know, Android is based on Java, but the latest tech over there is Kotlin. So if most of the apps are now migrating towards Kotlin, and they are progressing, making a progress over there as well. Well, Android development can be uses Android SDK and can be done on both the OSs. For BlackBerry, we need a very niche resource with a C++ knowledge, and they have got their own IDE called as Momentix, right? And if we are trying to develop it using a Visual Studio, then we have to download a plugin for them and start with the development of it. So Visual Studio comes with both Mac OS X and Windows. So feel free and you can opt for any of them, right? So said that, and going to the next part is the hybrid app development, where the most clients try to focus these days, and they try to say, okay, less cost, used can be used at across wide ranges, and it saves time and money. But the negative, once we develop these particular app with as per their requirement and saying that there is less cost and all these things, then they come back after few time or few months of experience or the sluggishness of app, or it is not up to the mark, and they come back saying that, hey, it is operating very slowly. This is the problem. I want to have a new feature to it, say that it will access the camera. Now when all these things come into picture, while accessing camera for an hybrid app, you will have to have a separate library, or just for an example, you will have to have a separate library for OSs. So for iOS, for accessing camera, there could be a separate library. For accessing the same camera for Android, there would be a separate library to it, and there could be their individual developments come into picture. And that way, the app starts to become more heavier, or starts to make a difference in the functioning or the behavior. And then we might come to know our mistake, and we might feel that, hey, it would have been better if we would have opted for the native app development, right? The one that we see like Ionic, React Native, Flutter, Xamarin, PhoneGap, these are few examples that can be used for the native app development, and or sorry, the hybrid app development. And what kind of technology or what kind of knowledge you want to do the native hybrid app development is basically CSS, HTML, JavaScript, right? And on top of that, if the individual features are to be developed, then we should have few but bit of knowledge about iOS and Android. But again, if even if we are developing the hybrid app, it would be like same code and run at multiple places. We will have to buy individual licenses for iOS and Android. We cannot skip that particular part, right? So we have to go out and buy the iOS license and the Apple license, Apple membership, and the Google membership for the Google Play Store. And that is how we can proceed with this. So that is about the hybrid app development. Okay, so going further, meanwhile, I will just take a break over here. It's been like 9 slides I have covered. If anybody is having any questions or any queries, yeah, we can ask it right away. It is okay for me.
Sumit, this is Deepa, madam. There is a
Yeah,
airy
ma'am.
sound in. There is
Oh, all right. It will just go away. Yeah,
yeah, perfect.
now good?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
We
was
were
my
just
time.
finding out why it is done. Fine. Okay, okay.
Yes. So, yes. So I will just take a break over here and see if anybody has got any questions to ask, or anybody has got any inputs to give. Am I going too fast, too slow? Is it like we are able to understand things? Well, okay. So this silence, I will take it as yes, I'm going at a good pace, and I feel like people still don't have any issues with the pace that I'm going with. All right. So we have got all these technology knowledges. We know what kind of app we need to develop. Now, what is an ideal app that can be available in the market, or in the present situation? Each and every client thinks that what my app should include. It's kind of a certain ideology from my point of view, and which most of the clients come up with. So in existing market, people say that I want a simple app. It should be problem solving. It should give a value addition back to the user, saying that it should, if I have a problem with ordering the things, as I said, order it from the app. If I have got any issues with the particular product, put it in the app saying that I have got an issue and raise a ticket or raise a request. What kind of value addition it will give you back? Well, it will give you a value add of saying that, okay, I sit back home and I do all these things. Easy to use is navigation of the app. So I should, if my app is pretty much big and heavy, then I should be having the options very handy to it. Like let's say the banking app, if we have, for example, an ICICI bank app, most of the basic or most of the mostly accessed menus are given at the front page itself, just to quickly access it and make the thing easy to understand. So when I say easy to understand, it means that any lame user who does not know the technology can download the app easily and should be able to go through the whole application without any problems or issues, or it should be a hassle free, or self, like it should give away the knowledge, or it should give away the things like, okay, this is the place where you will find your link, or there is a menu and you can find out your link quickly. Target clients, the most important category. If I'm developing an education app and if I say that, okay, I would like to sell it to a vegetable vendor, well, yes, a vegetable vendor can be your target client, but is he learning? Is he actually using the app? Now, in this COVID situation, there are plenty of education apps that would come up. We have got the biggest example of Byju's. The way Byju's has grown, we can create a similar kind of app and keep a target saying that, okay, uh, I've got a target audience of these many people. Now, there are like online meetings going on. We just have Zoom, Teams, these two mostly market shared app. These are like highly paid apps. We can come up with an app saying that, okay, this is something new for me, right? So we should know our clients as well, who we want to target and who should be our end users to it. Geographies, well, apps can go to worldwide, right? And a problem in India same problem can be seen in US, UK, or any other market over there. So if you feel like my app can do more better, or my app still has a potential that it can reach multiple geographies, uh, then just feel free. Put a check mark over there, put the necessary language localization things, and your app can reach across the boundaries. Your app can go to US as well. So do that. Feeling happy? Well, I have an app. I feel happy because I'm sitting at home and I'm doing the whole thing. There is no issues to me, right? So in the end, the client comes up saying that it should give me an happy feeling that my customer is happy. So this is all about the existing market that we see, and this is what the client or client expectations are. But going further, we have to create a creative app, right? We have to unleash our creativity that our app could reach and break the boundaries of an ideal app and be make the customer or the end user more happy, and end user think of more things. So for that, we have to be creative and we have to push out the app accordingly, right? In the upcoming market, well, we have a COVID situation again, where families are sitting back home and they are just like either just doing a WhatsApp, doing Facebook, or trying to be working from home. So there is a time where we will have to involve the whole family and come at one place. I'm not talking over here about I'm not talking about the family sharing of the app, rather the family sharing of a subscription, right? That is one part, but we make a app that will involve the whole family and will say that, okay, let's come together and do the things. For example, we have got a game called as Ludo. There could be a chess app, which already is. So accordingly, we will have to think that too. Evolve business. Now, plenty of businesses are on hold because of this again COVID situation. We have the only thing is I have to sit back. My business is there. It's been ruined by COVID, and I cannot do anything. So make an app that will evolve the business situation or evolve the market and give a avenue to that particular user, right? One-stop solution. So think of an app that will give you everything at one go. You want to do shopping, well, you can use my app. It's like going to a big supermarket and you do the shopping you do shopping over there. You go to groceries, you go to clothing sections, you go to like the kids section, or you go to toys section and do the shop. So it could be a one stop solution, but you will have to think of what target or how big your app needs to be. what kind of backend services you will need, what kind of cloud you will like to have, right? It should be fresh and alive. So it should not be like after making few taps over here and there, or after doing few clicks over here and there, I lose my interest in it. It should keep me, bringing up with the ideas. So if let's say like there is an ideal time on the screen, then I can just give a pop-up saying that, hey, there is something more to be explored on the some other link, or there's more to be explored on some other areas. Let's go over there and do it. So that way you can make the app fresh and alive. Use of vibrant colors, or use of something like something that will make me more attractive, make me attract to the app, could be of more useful. Learning, of course, as I've given plenty of examples on that, but there should be always a learning phase of the application, saying that if a user is going or accessing these particular menus mostly, then our app should learn that these are the major menu links that have been accessed and give them the priority in the list. Or say user that, hey, you can manage your dashboard as you feel like and give a better access. Break the monotony. Well, when I say about monotony, you can think of n number of apps. First is Google Drive. It has got its own monotony and monopoly. There are like stringent and fixed to it. We will have to break it, and we will have to come up with a better market solution or a competitor to it, right? And that is the way the upcoming market will be looking at the whole scenario. Games, there are n number of games in the market. There are a lot of business solutions out there, but what difference does your app make in this particular situation, and how where it could take is a major breakthrough for it. Even a smallest thing can give you a major update. Just to give you an example, we know that Zoom has got problems to it or issues to it, but still there are plenty of companies who are openly using Zoom or doing webinars over there, right? So that's how it has got evolved, and it has made a place in users' mind. To give a competitor to it will be a better idea as well. So going further, senses. Our app can trigger all the five senses or four senses at least of the human body. One is eyes, use of soothing but vibrant colors that will keep you attracted. Or if you are targeting kids, then that could be also a better idea. Ears, use of we can use some audio or audios to it, or some kind of sound to it. Making it more attractive. Or there is a sound, if there is an audio playing in background, people would like to stay onto the app, or like play across different places. For example, let's say I am accessing a certain banking app, and if I have given an option that you can use an audio or play some music in the background with the same app that is specially configured, or something like if I'm doing banking, I like to hear to this song, then we can do that too. Touch, we all know that mobiles vibrate, right? Then we can use that part too. Where we can use it, there is a wide horizon to it. So if you have a drawing app, then when the user touches it over there, you can and drags a line for it, then you can start the vibration, or depends on what kind of creative idea you come up to. Talk. So I work onto an application that is called as Dragon Anywhere, which is available in US only. So basically, my app allows the user to interact, and people have written like 400 pages of novels, literally books, using my particular application. And it is really amazing to see the way they like to talk, and the app talks back to them. It is not a talking tom, but it is a dictation app. So, or I want to enter a username password, I can just type, instead of typing the username, I can just speak to it, and I will enter the password by keyboard. If I want to open a certain menu, I don't need to, like go to the menu and do the things. I can just say like launch open settings, and it will just take me to the settings part. So that is how you can also think about creating your app or unleashing the creativity for your particular application, right? Okay. With saying all these things, we came to know. Okay, let me take a break again over here and see if people have got any questions to me. Okay, a break of 5 seconds, let's say. In 5 seconds, I hope people would give me some kind of query. I'm just turning on my fan back again because it's kind of sweaty.
Participants, you can make use of chat box to text the questions. Of course, you will get chance again at the end of the session, but in between also, if you have any questions, you can utilize the chat box.
Yes. All right. So saying that, let us proceed to the major part of the section. So we have seen that we can develop apps as native, hybrid, and a web app. But the major focus is ours is on native and hybrid. Since hybrid is catching up with a certain speed, and there is a lot of demand into the market is being seen. So what I have decided is to give you a glimpse of Flutter. So Flutter is the latest tech, and it is going to be the future of mobile app development, is what has been said. So along with Flutter, there are plenty. So there was an Ionic, right? There was a React. So these three are like the topmost and top selling cross platform or the hybrid app development techs or the technologies we can say. Okay, so let me just give you a glimpse of Flutter as of now. All right. So when we talk about Flutter, the first question comes to it like, yes, you said that there are already three or four topmost or top quality SDKs available in market. So why should we opt for Flutter? So Flutter is an open source. People can contribute back to Flutter. It is free of cost. It doesn't have any cost, and it uses a language called as Dart. So like we have C, C++, Java, or Objective-C, Swift. Similarly, for Flutter, they have developed their own language called as Dart, right? And it is beneficial basically to develop apps. It is not yet that mature that we could develop games onto it because it might be like going slow or the rendering rate might be different. I haven't tried with games on it on the Flutter yet. The next part is pre-built widgets. So when we say widgets over here, meaning that there are different kind of controls to it. There is a view, then there is a container, then we have got text boxes, labels, buttons, and all those components are being called as widgets in Flutter. There is the most best feature of Flutter for developer is auto reload, or it is also called as hot reload, right? We will see what hot reload is, and I will just give you a quick demo of what it means. And the other best part is we have to write a single piece of code which gets compiled into the native code. So write once and build it for iOS and Android. So pretty easy and neat, right? So let's take a look about it and understand a bit more about Flutter. What all prerequisites are. Oh, platforms. So these are all the platforms Flutter can be plugged into or Flutter can be used for. We can use it for iOS, Android, React Native, Web, and Xamarin Forms as well. So it has not mostly, it has widely covered all the niche and the upcoming markets. Sorry, not the niche, but the Play stores and the app stores. And if you can plug it in with React Native and work it out, then well, sky is the limit for you because they will go very neat and clean to, right? Okay, then where you can install Flutter, you can install Flutter on Windows, Mac OS X, Linux, and they have given a Chrome OS as well recently, right? And after this COVID situation, if you want to develop a specific thing for China, then they have got a certain rules and regulations, and I suppose their SDK is also different for the Chinese development, for the geography of China, right? We might have to think of something more regulations or so. But yes, these are like four major OS that on which the Flutter can be installed. What does it need? Nothing more. It just requires a 3 GB of disk space where we can download the SDK. It is available in on Flutter Dev. What kind of tools we need? Since I am a Mac developer and I am an iOS developer, I have a Mac, so I will be using. So these are the tools that. Oops. So these are the tools that are been required. One is Xcode, Android Studio, Visual Studio Code Editor. We need a terminal, and there are a few command line tools. Like they depend as per the OS. So if I prefer to download it via Git, so I need a command line tool to get the Git library or the Git SDK to pull the SDK from Git, right? So these are like different tools that can be used for Flutter development. Right. Okay. Next is the Flutter Dart, where, as I said, Dart is again a language, a development tool, a development language to go for the Flutter app, and it actually goes with the OOPS concept. It actually follows the way, like C, C++ or any other technology goes or development language goes. There is a blueprint for new object. Like when you create a new object, you can go through the whole process of it, like how it has been created and where it has been stored and all. The basic part is it follows camel casing. Just to give you an idea, Flutter does not uses dashes or underscores while labeling things or while doing things. It strictly follows camel casing only. So if you feel like my variable name should start with a capital, so no, it is not available. If you feel like my function name or method name should start with a caps, that is not possible. You have to strictly follow camel casing over here, just to make a coding convention and a good coding practice throughout the application and development. As we all know, in C, it uses extends for inheritance from base class, which is pretty much basic. We have learnt in the programming languages. Well, there is a build method to it. Like we have a main method in our own in our function in our apps or in our development cycle, from where the program triggers. Over here, we have a build method which tells like which class to render it into, right? So there are multiple classes. If you have got a UI, then you will have to put it into the build part, and from there it will start the rendering process of that particular UI. Okay. So different kinds of variable. So if you want to declare a variable, we just have to use var as a keyword and assign a what we say, a variable name to it, a variable name called as name, which is equal to Bob. So the thing to look over here is name is again in small, right? I can say n in small and ame in caps. That should be done. But n in caps won't be allowed. It will give you an error, right? Now, being an var kind of variable, it it can go with multiple types of data types, right? So if I say var name equals to 5, then name becomes an integer type of variable or integer object variable. If I say name equals to string, that is as we see on the screen as Bob, then name becomes a string object. Okay, so this var is like flexible. It using this, we can determine, we can just like like keep it flexible and keep the assignment open. But once it is stuck to string object, we cannot put an integer to it. Then it will be a problem. Okay. Then comes an exclusively or exclusively declared or like the what you can say variable type. is string or the object type, where it then string once I declare it as string, then I have to uh, put a string object only or a string value to it. Then we have got dynamic. Then when it comes to dynamic, it can be a bool, it can be a string, it can be anything, right? So that's how flexible Dart it keeps it itself. But mostly it is suggested that you should be using a string type, or I mean the strictly typed data type. We should not just like keep it as var or keep it as dynamic, because as the program increases, it would be difficult for us to keep track of what kind of value is stored in particular variable name. And by default, the variables are initialized. Sorry, default value of uninitialized variable is null. So it's not zero, it's not empty, it is null. So it will become more easier for us to do the comparison bit with it. And most of us will surely will get this question in interview, like what is the difference between null and a zero? So you will be able to, you should be able to answer it, right? Okay. So once we go to the okay, let me. Okay. So once we try to create a Flutter application, it creates its own folder structure, right? In which there onto the left, if we see, this is a Flutter demo app, and so, and this is the folder structure of it, in which the idea folder will have the Android basic configuration things. We can see the Android and OS folders that will have the native code as we proceed, and if required, we can put it over there. Then we have got different libs where the Dart and Flutter code will go. So the main.dart is the starting point for us. And there is another file called as pubspec.yaml. It is it is a configuration file, and where we will be defining the dependencies that have been used while going with the Flutter app development. Okay. Of course, yes. Good. The last we see is a readme.md, which is always preferred to keep updated and keep on entering the details, like what changes are being made, how the app is doing, or what a defect has been fixed in this particular release or the release notes to it. We can also have our own test scripts over here. We do have a git binary, so we can upload it onto the git as well, right? So it comes with a power packed and pre-basic things to start with the development. Okay. So having said that, let's move to the demo of Flutter, and I will just give you a quick glimpse of what happens when we try to create a Flutter app. Okay. So I have already created a demo, a folder called as demo WEBETHON. Okay. Oops, where did it go? Learning, Flutter Dev, WEBETHON 2020. Okay. So there is this demo underscore WEBETHON 2020 folder. I have created it with a simple click, right? So how you do that? So you will need a kind of terminal or a command prompt on Windows, right? And you just have to go ahead and give an command saying that for flood. Okay, I will just increase the font size. To make it more visible. All right. So once you are good to you have installed Flutter onto your app or onto your desktop or laptop or the system that you are going to work on, it is suggested that you run the command called as Flutter Doctor. So if you run this particular command, you will come to know that Flutter is updated, or see, like I just came to know that a new version of Flutter is available, and there is again a command for it, like Flutter upgrade, and you are done with the you are there onto the latest version of it. Okay, and what all things are there? I have got Android onto my system. I have got Xcode. I have got Android Studio as well. So Android toolchain we see it has been used for the development of Android devices. So what kind of SDK I can have over there? No issues found. So the Flutter doctor has given me a green that yes, you can go ahead and do the development of it. Okay. So to create an app, a simple command saying that flutter create is the command, right? And the name of the project that we have. So demo underscore webathon 2020 is the name of my project. Once you enter it, it will go with all the binaries, it will do the compiling, or let us just create one quickly. Let's say 2021. And it will pull in all the required libraries. It will pull in all the things that are that are required to do the demo, and that's it. Within 6 seconds, it has written 65 files, and you are ready to proceed with the development. What you are supposed to do, it has given those steps as well. See this? In order to run your application, type cd this and just say flutter run, and your app should be ready to go. So instead of going for a further ado, what I have done is I have pre-installed the application because I just wanted to show you how an hybrid app works seamlessly on both the devices. That is Android onto the left that we see. Over here onto the right, we see the iOS app. So this is an iPhone X simulator with the latest OS onto it. And onto the left, we see the Android. So if you see, both the UIs are very similar and they don't make any difference. And that is the best part of showing out doing a hybrid development. So we have a button. If we click this, it will go ahead and increment similarly over here. So the main thing what I want to showcase over here is the experience that a user gets, be it iOS or Android, or on similar lines, I would have got a BlackBerry or a Windows simulator, then I could have demoed it over there too. But the UI would be same, and it will be more clear and write once and deploy it at multiple places. At this point of time, it is just a basic application. That's why it will work seamless. It will work efficiently. But as we proceed, we might have to add the individual libraries or necessary SDKs to it. Okay. So the next part that I would like to showcase is once you run an application, it gives you two separate it gives you best option to it, right? So these are the two things. What we do is when we write an application and when we run it, we say that okay, I want to make changes to the app. So I don't want this label to say you have pushed the button these many times. I want to just rename it to count, for example. If I go in the background and rename it to count, then I need not build the whole application. I have the best part to it is one, just give a press R, right, while it is running to reload the changes, or I can press capital R to do a hot restart. So when I say hot restart, it will restart the application instantly, right? Just to give you a glimpse of what happened yesterday and while I was developing this application. So it took around these many seconds. So approximately 3 minutes to deploy it on iOS as well as Android, right? So instead of deploying, taking it these long and rebuilding the whole app, I will just press capital R and it will rebuild it within like 3 to 4 seconds. So that's the best part of Flutter that is available with the development over here. I have used Visual Studio Code to develop this particular app. It is very light and it does not require much download to it. So it is quick and easy to access. So that's why my choice for Flutter development was Visual Studio to it. Now to do it over here, be it Android or the Visual Studio, you will have to add a plugin to it, right? So for Visual Studio, it is an extension. For Android, it will be a plugin. So in the extensions, you will just have to search for Dart. And once it is available, you will have to go and install the Dart code extension to it. Once in, you can start developing the Dart programming, right? It is that easy. So there are plenty of widgets that can be learned. There is a stateful widget. There are different states of it, and plenty of progress that we can see. So here is the increment of counter and all those things. So and that's how we can go ahead and do the Flutter development, and just a basic idea of what a glimpse of what Flutter is all about. All right. So I'm done with my whole presentation. If you have got any queries, then please feel free to ask.
Yes, of course, it was a very, very interesting session by Mr. Sumit Morey, based on demonstration on Flutter. Participants, please utilize this platform, this opportunity to raise your queries. It's very good chance to you for you to answer from Mr. Sumit Morey. So the platform is open for you. You can type your questions in chat box.
Okay, I have a question to ask. Okay. See, when you consider Flutter, it is comparatively a newbie when we compare it with React Native. Okay. So is Flutter going to be the future of mobile development?
As of now, Flutter is, yes, it is getting a pretty good traction for the development part. And people are actually, like trying to get hands to it. And because it belongs to Google as well. So it is like Google Flutter. It was previously it was an individual entity, but now it has got a backup from Google. So it is going to go very nice, and it could be a future. So just to give you an idea, React Native lasted for a few years, and it went. It is still in the market and making a boom. And there is an introduction of Flutter now. So every 2 years or 3 years, as the technology matures, someone come up with a new tech and show it. So yes, Flutter can be a future of mobile apps.
Thank you. There is one more question from Rupesh Ingre. Can you give brief introduction of Xamarin?
Oh, okay. So I have not got the setup of Xamarin as of now, but if time permits, or if we could have a separate session for it, then I will surely do that. Xamarin Forms is like very good, but yes, we will have to schedule something more to it, a new session for that.
Sure. And there is one more question from Rishabh. Actually, he wanted to know, right, like how to start from the scratch. Maybe the demo what you were actually showing.
Mhm.
So can you just some guidelines with which they can go further?
Yes. So Rishabh, if you have a laptop with you or a system with you, just go to Flutter and download its SDK and download your favorite development IDE, be Android Studio. If you know Android, if you are familiar with it, you can go with the Visual Studio code. And the Flutter helps, or the Flutter insights are very much self-explanatory. Anything that you get or anywhere you stuck, then there is a community with Flutter that can give you a better answer. So I would say just start getting your hands dirty onto the Flutter dev website that I have mentioned, or just Google for Flutter and you will be like going ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. The next question is Flutter faster than native apps?
Oh, okay. So yes, that's where the hybrid and native picture comes into, right? So when we say hybrid, of course there will be minor difference as compared to native. So native will always be having an upper hand to it. But yes, what I would say, Flutter works seamlessly, and I would say if native is 100%, Flutter will be somewhere around 99 or 97% of it. So 2% of UX fails with hybrid app always. Excuse me.
Okay, should we take next question?
Yes, please.
Yeah. The next question is, what is hot reload?
Okay. So hot reload is like you do some changes to the app or in the logic behind, and if you want to do you don't want to build or compile the whole application. You just give a command over there and it will do a hot reload. It will reload the logic in background, but it will not do the like compilation, then creation of the iOS and Android bit codes or their individual transfer into the native languages and all those things. It will skip that particular part, and it will just give you a quick glimpse of what actually changes in the logics are, or changes in the UI are. So that is where the hot reload will work, and it will increase your development time instead of spend waiting, sitting back and waiting it to complete
Okay,
or to
okay.
build. Yes.
We have a question from Rahul, one of the participant. What is difference between Flutter and Swift?
Okay, so Swift is basically a native development Swift is like you use it for Android, iOS development, and it is native. Flutter is a cross-platform or hybrid and can be used across platforms like iOS as well as Android. That's the major difference between Swift and Flutter.
Okay, okay, great. Uh, Question from Pallavi Kambe. Sir, why any application needs to access the customer data?
Well, it depends on what kind of app you are developing and what kind of information you are trying to access customer data. So, for example, if you have an app called as Truecaller and you cannot access the contacts of the customer, then it makes no sense of having Truecaller to it, right? You need to get back some inputs, or your app needs to do a self-learning, and then that is the reason why you will have to access the personal data of an user to know its whereabouts, his choices, his likings and dislikes, and that way you can proceed.
Yes,
And
yes.
yeah, and a star mark over there when you say personal data, how personal you go or how deep down you drill to it is the major part.
Thank you. Any other question? Participants?
So I guess Kiran ma'am, they have done with the question
Yes,
answer.
yes, actually. I will now just
Uh,
today's
thank,
convener, Rupali Madam, to please convey the takeaways of today's session.
Ma'am, just now one question have popped up. We'll
Okay,
to
okay.
take that. What is the future of game app development?
Yeah.
Sumit.
Okay. So the future of game app development is very vast and very huge, and it keeps on increasing and rising. So it has got a pretty big market. Now, what I wanted you to think of is like creativity in that particular gaming app, and try to involve more people. Um, being said that, let me give you a glimpse of the requirement. As of now, with me, I have a team of like say 10 people, and being into COVID, we are not into like in offline contacts with each other. So there are sessions that have been kept where we can play games, but what kind of game to be played, we are not sure. So think of something like that will solve the problem. and you might get a bigger market to it.
Yes, actually, one of the student is saying that he has idea for developing an app for this COVID situation. That's great.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay,
Before I hand it over to Rupali madam for conveying the takeaways, a request for all the participants, please stay connected because at the end we will be displaying a link, a URL on screen through which you are going to attempt a quiz, and after attempting the quiz only you will get certified with today's webinar. So all the participants are requested to stay connected till the end of the session. Now I am requesting Rupali madam to please convey the takeaways.
Okay, thank you, Kiran ma'am. Thank you, Sumit, for such an informative session. Many of us might have understood the difference between the native apps, hybrid apps, and web apps. We got the glimpses of cross-platform application development too. We saw a small application with Flutter. This is how the cross-platform application works. Thank you, Sumit, for that demonstration also. I'm sure many students might have been encouraged to be an app developer. Once again, thank you, Sumit. I request Kiran Shinde ma'am to continue further. Over to Kiran ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, Rupali ma'am, and once again, thank you, Mr. Sumit Morey, for delivering an excellent and interesting session. Now, I request the organizer to please kindly display the URL for the quiz. Participants, you can see the URL on screen, and we will be also posting this URL in chat box. You have to click on the URL and attempt the quiz for this particular talk and get certified with today's webinar. And please parallelly listen to this instruction. Today we have also planned a webinar at 3 p.m. The talk is on Oracle Apps and Avenue to Succeed in IT Industry by Mr. Sangameshwar Modi. He is a business analyst or business system specialist at Nuance India Private Limited. So I request you to stay tuned for our today's second talk on Oracle Apps.
That's nice. And that's an interesting topic, actually.
Yes. Participants, hope you are seeing the URL in the chat box.
You are welcome, Sumit, to attend that. You also can attend.
Yes, I was likely to ask it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes, of course you can attend.